Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Frankie. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip. Oh, you're supposed to say hooray. What are you doing? You get to your age and
I
you're just no fun
yeah,
anymore?
yeah, I don't care about my birthday anymore. It's actually more of
Oh,
a hassle. I don't know. I get less into it every year, I think.
well, on that downer note, hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Dan and Frankie Go to Hollywood. My name is Frankie.
Really?
I
Because I'm
got
not
you.
Dan.
I finally did it! Yay! No, it's actually not. My name is Dan. I just had to look at my driver's license.
and and I am still Frankie, as always.
Yes, and as you may have gathered from the rather changed intro, it is Frankie's birthday today. Not actually today because we're recording this on a Monday, but by the time this episode airs, while you are listening to it, it is her birthday. So, yeah, happy birthday, Frankie.
Thank you.
That's all right. And I say that on behalf of all of our millions of fans, I'm sure. So, yeah. So, what's been happening since the last time we did this?
Stress. So let's
Oh,
skip me and go to you because you had a much more exciting fortnight.
I have. I got to cut knots out of my kitty cat's bum hair today, which was all sorts of fun. What else has been happening? Oh yeah, fiance gave birth to twins. Oh, I made this really delicious. No, all right, come on, I'm just kidding here. Yes,
Yeah, congrats, new dad.
I became a dad. Yeah. Which, look, I'm not going to spend like an hour going on about this, which I absolutely could. All I will say is that everything people have said to me throughout my life about what it is like to become a parent, and I've just kind of shrugged it off and been like, yeah, okay, whatever. It is absolutely true. It is life changing. Like I am a completely different person to the person I was in the last episode. Don't worry, I'm still going to be saying inappropriate things and making really terrible jokes. See, I have a license to actually make dad jokes now. I mean, I've been doing it my whole life, but now I can do it. Yes, no, Kylie gave birth to a beautiful boy and a girl. Yes, we had two at once because we're overachievers. So, yes, little Alexis Lindsay is my son and Harper Quinn is my daughter, and they have captured the hearts of the entire maternity ward. And today, I even said to the nurses, because two of them were just fawning over them and going, oh my God, these babies are so beautiful. And I said to them, I'm getting the impression here that you guys actually mean this. Like, you're not just saying it. And they're like, no, we're not just saying it about your kids. Like, so, yeah. But, when you got two parents who are as good looking as we are, it's kind of inevitable that was going to happen. So, yeah, what can I say? But, yeah, so as a result, this is going to be the Frankie show this time around because I've got nothing to talk about. I've not watched really much at all. I've just been completely out of the loop. So yeah, I'm going to hand it over to Frankie
Well, I've
and
watched less as well because, yeah, there's been too much other crap. But also at the same time, the ones I have watched have been mostly really good. So, which is
well, that's
nice
good.
because, um,
Yeah, well, it's better than watching crap.
yeah, well, especially when life is crap. So you want to escape to the
Oh,
good stuff. And
yeah.
then if you watch crap movies, it's just crap everywhere. Which is
Yeah,
why
I
you kind
know.
of ruined my day with
Well,
your
hey,
Brad Pitt movie choice.
well, when you're saying there's crap everywhere, trust me, I know. I have two newborns, okay? Don't
Yeah,
you
just
tell me
wait till
about
they come
crap.
home.
Yeah, I know. But
Then you've
look,
got it full time.
we've been cleaning our fair share of nappies. Yeah, but yeah. So no, I know about crap. But yeah.
I will be
But
interested to see if your movie watching changes because I know a few people, although of course they're not like you as far as movie taste and everything, but after having kids, they struggle to watch anything involving bad things happening to kids.
honestly, I cannot see myself changing things. I've actually, because I've been thinking about that, funnily enough. Like, there are films that I've seen that involve bad things happening to babies. But I don't know. Like, ever since I was a kid, I've been able to switch off from, like, what is
I
fact, what
do
is
find
fiction.
it weird in general
Yeah,
that
I don't know.
people, like a lot of people, have major issues with babies or children having things happen to them in movies. Like that it's some like taboo thing to do. Whereas I kind of like it because it's not.
Yeah,
No, but
yeah.
just that when a movie goes there, you're like, okay, this
Oh,
movie
wow.
doesn't care and it's going to
Okay.
go anywhere because, so many places. It's like the TV show Dark. There's a scene in that where stuff is happening and I was like, oh, is this going to happen? And I was like, no, they're not going to do that. But they did it. And it was so good because I was like, wow, they actually did it. Because a lot of places turn back.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, look, the remake of Dawn of the Dead. I mean, that had a baby getting shot in the face, and that's pretty horrific. Yeah, look, no, I don't think I'm gonna change in that respect, but yeah, the only thing I'm gonna change is nappies. No, anyway, but moving on from all that stuff.
Oh,
I don't know how to
yeah.
segue this. Speaking of Booster
I
Gold,
got tricked.
you had something that you
I
wanted
am so
to
sick of rumors being reported as
recap.
news.
You
And I wouldn't
did.
have mentioned it last time if it had just been like a tweet or something. But they had an image in the tweet that looked like an official thing, so I thought it was like fact. um, the
And what was
news
that for
was
people
that
who may
Booster
have
Gold
missed the
Show
last
was going
episode?
to start filming in July, I think it was. Which everyone thought was a bit weird because they haven't announced the cast yet, but that's why, because they're not filming in July. So, yeah, we're back to just waiting for news.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although my point still stands that,
Tick
when they
tock, tick
announced it,
tock.
I was
It's a
like,
waiting game.
oh, I got to wait till 2025 to see it. And, we're not far away from that now. So it's coming about.
I know. Well, that is true.
And
Yeah,
I'm
it's
still
only
excited to
only a
hear
year
who
away.
they
So
cast. It's
yeah.
probably going to be someone I've never heard of in the end. So it'll be like, they're announcing who's Booster Gold. It's this guy. And I'm like,
Maybe.
who's that?
Yeah.
But you never know, I might be surprised. Well, yeah, I just hope it's
Hey, look, as long
someone
as
great
they do a
and
good job.
I hope it's
Hey,
someone pretty
and
and someone who's not too young. Because, well, yeah.
and who wears
Yeah, I was just
amazing
going to say.
clothes. Let's not forget that. And has amazing hair.
Yeah.
I guess that all wraps
You
up
got to
into the
have a
pretty
pretty
package,
Booster
though,
Gold.
doesn't it? Like, yeah,
But, I
yeah,
mean,
fair
for
enough, fair
me
enough.
as well, because a lot of people's idea
Exactly.
of pretty
Yeah.
is not me. Well, yeah, it's a TV show. I don't know the
Because
guy.
you're superficial.
So, I like pretty people in
Good
my
on you for
movies and TV shows.
absolutely.
Why
You
not?
own that. There you go. Hey, no arguments there. Now I've been out of the loop as far as trailers or anything that's happened on the internet for the last week.
Well,
Yeah,
I've
has
been
there
away from
been
things a bit
anything
too, but
going on?
the
Like,
Longlegs trailer is out finally, and I was a bit worried about it, and I didn't watch it straight away, but then I
ooh.
saw someone said how good it was combining it's still cryptic like all the teasers, but has enough of a sort of storyline to get other people interested who haven't been following all the teasers. So I watched it, and yeah, it still doesn't give away too
Yep.
much. Yay! Yay for trailers, don't tell the story in them. And yeah, so I'm still very excited. It's a director I love.
Yeah.
It's two actors I love, so I'm trying not to be too excited.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Yeah,
No
I
one really does. So.
really don't know much about it at all, but maybe that's a good thing. So yeah,
That's not too far away now.
So yeah. But no, that is true. Yeah, so no, yeah. I mean, aside from the baby thing, like Kylie and I had our 2 year anniversary on Friday from when first became a couple and stuff as well. So we've had that. We've had just so much going on over these last few days. It's been insane, but yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah. I was going to say I'll get back into it soon enough, but no, I won't because when the kids come home, yeah, that's going to be even less time to do anything. So pretty soon, it's just going to be Frankie Goes to Hollywood. It's not even going to be me anymore.
I
I'll
can't
just
just
you
talk
just
to
send me the
myself.
audio.
That's
I'll whip it up
boring.
and get it out there. But
It's,
you're not. You're talking to your adoring fans, all of them, and especially Nobbins, who we love. We don't
yeah,
we
what
just
did you
love
say earlier?
Nobbins,
We can't
Frankie?
miss an
Let's talk
episode
about
because
Nobbins, shall we? Because we
otherwise he
didn't
has no
mention him.
entertainment for his dog walks.
Exactly. And a shout out to Barkins as well. But yeah, no, we intentionally went through the last episode without mentioning our number one fan, Nobbins. Actually, I shouldn't say that because Kylie's then going to be like, oh, I thought I was your number one fan. I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, that's right, you are, sweetie. So, yeah, maybe they're shared number one status, like
They're
the
in
two of
different
them, do you
states,
think?
so you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I still, exactly. Yeah. I look personally. I still think I'm our number one fan, but that's I'm
Maybe.
a little bit biased. So yeah, not that I've listened to an episode yet, but that's beside the point. Now, yeah. So unfortunately, all you people out there who just love our big elaborate questions that we've been giving each other these last couple of episodes, we don't really have anything massive planned this time around because of reasons.
Yeah,
But you did
I
have
I
an
have a
FMK,
special
did you, that you wanted
Harley
to throw
Quinn
my way?
one
So,
for you. This,
ooh, all right. So, for those who don't understand what an FMK is, it is
yeah.
a fuck,
So
marry, kill, and
this
everyone
is
knows what
based
that is.
on the
So,
TV series.
ooh, okay,
So
right, okay.
King Shark.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Seriously, right now.
Clayface
Jesus. Yep.
and
Oh my god.
Bane.
Okay. Oh, for God's sake. Are you actually kidding me right now? Look, I actually have the bottom of King Shark right here because he came with one of the Harley Quinn figures that I got recently. So there's his pants and his feet. Oh my God. Okay. But why did you not give me time to prepare for this?
Yeah,
'Cause
hey,
this
you did
is-
that to me last time.
This is... All right. Oh God, what was I thinking? Okay. I am going to kill Bane because I don't want to
Yeah.
either fuck or marry
Why
him
would
because
you?
just get that image out of my head. Pick a card, any card. So yeah, he's eliminated. So let's marry King Shark only because he does seem like he would be good in domestic situations. I mean, he's a very thoughtful, responsible, considerate person. And I'm gonna be using Clayface as a sex toy, and
Yeah.
here's why.
I
He
should
can
have picked
transform into
someone
anybody.
else
So,
instead.
yeah.
I gave you an out.
No, yeah. So, yeah. You did. So, yeah. I think that sounds good to me. Now, going with that, I'm going to come back with you with the same TV series. Fuck, marry, kill. Dr. Psycho. Frank the Plant.
Oh, hang on.
And Commissioner Gordon. Not bad considering I just came up with that on the spot. I was going to go easy
Yeah.
on you and go, Harley,
Well, you did
Ivy,
that
Catwoman,
last time.
but
You're
no,
not
screw
giving
you. If
me
you're going to make that
like
hard
good
for
people.
me.
Okay.
This one's probably worse because you've got a plant involved. But anyway. So yeah, Dr. Psycho, Frank the Plant, Commissioner Gordon. I was almost going to pick the Joker, but I thought Commissioner Gordon's way more of a basket case. And that's really saying something.
this this is going to be a weird answer, but you know, oh, hang on. Let me do it in order.
I'm so glad that this happened.
I'm just thinking of logistics and things. Okay, I don't know how this is gonna work and stuff. I'm gonna fuck Frank because
please explain how. I really want to know.
Well, it's a plant, so I probably don't even need to do anything. Plants are asexual.
Oh, I've had plenty of partners who were like that. But anyway, okay.
Because I am gonna marry Dr. Psycho because I love him and he's so entertaining. He would keep me entertained all the time, and he's rude to people, which is hilarious.
Wow.
And then kill Commissioner Gordon because he's a bit of a loser. So.
Yeah, a complete nut job. So yeah, all right, fair enough. Wow, that was way more entertaining than I actually anticipated it was going to be. I thought, because I was on the spot and I was like, oh, I don't know, I'll just come up with 3 characters. But
well,
no,
it's an easy show
worked.
to come up with 3 good characters for this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, it's funny. There was one night, Kylie and I went and grabbed some dinner at the hospital from a Subway that they've got in the little food court area. And I was wearing a Harley and Ivy t-shirt, and the girl who served us, oh my God, she was a huge Harley Quinn fan. So she's like, oh my God, I love your shirt. And I was like, oh my God. And we got talking about the show and all this sort of stuff, and I'm showing her pictures of my collection. She was just obsessed with the TV show and everything. And of course, Kylie's next to me in a wheelchair, just, tapping her fingers like, seriously, right now you're flirting with the Subway stuff? No, I wasn't. She was about 15. But anyway, but yeah, no, that was really cool. It was, just, I don't know, cool to meet another fan of the show. Nice to know that it's got longevity. So yes, that's what I'm getting at. Well, speaking of things that are a good time, what do you say we get stuck into our movies now? Because I don't really have much else to talk about. So yeah, well, I still won't have much to talk about because I haven't watched much. So shall we just start with the one movie that I've really, I mean, aside from that, I did manage to rewatch Abigail because for those who didn't hear the last episode, Kylie and I went to the movies to see it and had the single worst experience of our entire lives in a cinema. The whole movie got ruined for me. So yeah, I tried rewatching it, but I foolishly started it very late at night, like at 1 a.m. or something. And so I got halfway through and I couldn't stay awake any longer. So I had to stop it and restart it the next day. And so I still haven't seen this movie in its entirety in one sitting. But yeah, I definitely think I liked it. I think it's worth a 4 stars from me. But no, look, the only other movie that I really watched was Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest from 1992.
Oh.
Have you ever seen that one before?
I think so, when I was a kid.
Right. Well, I've never seen it before, and it was on Kylie's list of movies that I need to see, otherwise the engagement's off. And she's keeping the kids. But, I really enjoyed it. It just, there's something about early 90s animation that I love. It was like back before computers took over and everything was actually hand-drawn and stuff. But the thing that I really found interesting, so the characters were talking about Mount Warning, and I was like, thinking to myself, that's really quite a coincidence, that we have a Mount Warning like right near us and everything. And then later on, one of the characters, it's mentioned, I think is from Byron Bay, and I'm like, wait a minute, is this movie actually set here? Like, actually sort of Brisbane, Gold Coast kind of region. And yeah, sure enough, it actually was. So that was interesting, especially because every character had an American accent. So I was sort of like, okay, so Australian fairies talk with American accents?
back then.
Yeah. Sure, why
They
not?
just went, oh, we're making this movie set in
Yeah.
Australia, but we're making it so,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. Let's just, yeah. Actually, I just had a thought. Samantha Mathis was the lead female in it, and the film, if I'm remembering correctly, also had Christian Slater in it. Let me just have a look here, because, yeah, Christian. There you go. It's a pump up the volume. Oh my God, what are you doing with your eye? That was really freaky.
It was itchy.
Yeah, but you were practically pulling it out of its socket then. That was...
No, that must have been a trick of the light. I was just like, just.
Oh, that's disgusting. Stop doing that. My God. Wow. Anyway, yes, it's
not
a
even a
pump up the volume reunion because, of course, those two were the two main characters in Pump Up the Volume. I didn't even think of that till now. There you go.
Huh.
But yeah, look, I enjoyed it. It was very heavy on the environmental message, but...
Well, I mean, there's a bit of that in the 90s. Like, you had your Captain Planet and stuff.
Yeah. But that being said, it's a message that I do support, and it's funny that even now, like 32 years later, it's still extremely relevant. Actually, if anything, it's more relevant now than it ever was before. So, yeah. So no, I enjoyed it. It is definitely a film that I will remember, and I'm glad I watched. And aside from one movie that you and I saw, that's all I've seen. So I'm going to hand it over to you. I'm going to kick back and, yeah, take it away, birthday girl.
Well, one of the first movies I watched in the last fortnight was What's Up, Doc? From 1972, which has been on my radar for quite some time. And so I finally just decided one night to watch it. It's got Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal, and it's pretty funny. It's a comedy, but it's also it's a weird plot. Basically, you've got four people with the same like little suitcase, like same luggage, and you've got Barbara and Ryan who don't know each other. He's a doctor. A scientist doctor, does like a geologist. So he's got rocks in his suitcase.
Right.
Barbara Streisand's it's her travel thing. Then you've got a guy who's got top secret government documents.
Ooh.
And then you've got a rich old lady with jewels.
Ah, okay.
And you've got someone trying to steal the secret documents, someone trying to steal the jewels. And then you've got Barbara Streisand's just trying to get to know Ryan O'Neal, who's like the super nervous, absent-minded guy. And all these mix-ups happen, and Barbara Streisand's like pretending to be his fiance and like charming all the people at this gala where he's one of the two finalists to get this research grant. And it's just gets more and more outrageous and ends with a big car chase.
Oh, wow.
Which it's very entertaining. And the car chase just at like the last part of the movie with the car chase and everything just really bumped it up at the end. I already thought it was good, but that just made it like instant favorite. So,
well, it does sound like a really cool movie.
Yeah,
I am
recommend.
actually interested in that one. Cool. Because, yeah, I didn't know anything about it. Of course, like we had talked about it because for anyone out there who plays the game Framed, where you've got to guess the movie by, just one movie frame at a time, and you got 6 frames before you're out. 2 days later, Frankie, Nobbins, and I, hello Nobbins, were playing, and that just happened to be the movie that came up, and I was like, yep, I know one of us who's going to get it. So, yeah, massive coincidence there. So
it's always nice when you can look at the first frame and instantly go, I know what that is.
Yeah. All right, what else you got? Because, I'm out.
Well, then I decided I was in the mood for some Casey Affleck, so I watched Light of My Life, which I was a bit wary going into because it's set like after a pandemic's happened and
Ah.
wiped out like half the population or something.
Mm.
And it's about a guy and his daughter. But I started watching it, and it opens like camping in a forest, and he gets out of the tent, and his hair's like, you know,
Mm.
super messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to get water and smooths his hair down and starts making breakfast. And I'm like, oh, this is so nice. Like, I know the theme of the movie is this pandemic things happen, but I'm just like, oh,
Mm.
camping, nature. It's so good.
Mm.
But the thing
Yeah.
that makes this movie different is the pandemic stuff is like background, and the
Okay.
movie
Yep.
is mainly about the relationship between the father and the daughter.
Right.
And so
Right.
when I read reviews afterwards, it did put off a lot of people because it's not like action and
Mm-hmm.
disease and all of that kind
Mm.
of movie. It's really like slow and just following them, and you're like,
Okay.
okay, this pandemic happened, but there's still stuff going on. So why are they out in a forest avoiding people and all of this?
Mm.
And it gets revealed later. But most of the movie's just that. Some more stuff happens in the
Mm.
last act. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, very good.
That kind of reminds me.
Recommend.
Do you remember that movie that I watched sort of recently-ish called Another Earth?
Yes.
And there was that whole thing about like this other planet, like Earth 2, that comes into our proximity, but the movie was about something else and just had that as like a background sort of a
Mm.
thing. So yeah, that kind of reminds me of that, the way you described it.
It
Yeah.
was good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was looking at things,
Were you?
and I don't
Just.
remember how it started. I was looking at something, looking at something else, looking at something else, and then I ended up looking at Gone Baby Gone,
Mm-hmm.
and then thought, oh, I should watch that because I there's a lot of praise for Ben Affleck directing that one,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd never got around to seeing it, so I
Right.
watched that as well,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very good. It's a little girl gets abducted, and Casey Affleck.
Yeah,
What?
sounds like a really good time.
I
What
didn't
the
say it
hell?
was a good time.
Yeah, you said it was really good, and then you
It's
like,
good. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's just the way that it came out. It's really good. This girl gets abducted. It's so cool.
Hey,
I'm sorry. I'm reading things into this that aren't there, obviously.
yeah. Good movie
Yeah,
doesn't mean happy movie.
I know. I'm just messing with you. You know that. Yeah.
So he's a private investigator with his girlfriend. I don't think they're married, but
Mm-hmm.
and so they get involved because the police aren't really doing anything, and they think, oh, because you're like private investigators, people might talk to you and the neighborhood and all of that. So they get
Mm-hmm.
involved with it, and there's some twists and turns and things. And yeah, it was good, but I feel like if the movie had ended a bit
Mm-hmm.
earlier than it did, it would have been better because it's got a big thing at the end that makes you think. And
Right. Right.
I just think if it had ended a bit earlier, you would think more.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Which, yeah, I can't say any more than that, of course, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say what the ending is. But yeah, so they were both pretty good. And it's pretty funny because everyone's like, oh, this is such a good movie that Ben directed. And everyone's saying Casey's of the Affleck brothers, Casey's the
Mm-hmm.
better actor, but Ben's good at directing. But then I
Mm-hmm.
looked at one of his other films and everyone's like, this is crap. So it seems he's
Oh
pretty
wow.
hit or miss at directing.
Yeah. Right. Right.
But I
So you've
haven't
been on
seen
a
any of his other films yet.
bit of a Casey Affleck thing lately, have you?
Yeah, well,
Mm.
yeah, I watched two.
Well, that's a bit of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
said yes.
What else you got?
Oh, and just quickly, because
Yes.
it's not one to say a lot about, but I watched another one of my Radiance films that's been on my
Mm-hmm.
shelf. It's actually the first one they put out,
Mm-hmm.
called The Working Class Goes to Heaven, which is an Italian film from
Right.
1971,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounds boring. um, but I gave it a go because it was a
Mm-hmm.
Radiance film. But it's about like factory workers and um, and it's like the conditions they had there. And one of the guys like loses his finger in a workplace accident, and then gets
Whoopsies.
involved with like political stuff, sort of.
Right.
Like there's sort of the unions wanting to fight for better conditions for the workers, and then there's these like student activist type people, outside the gates with their megaphones. And so he kind of gets involved and it does that. But
They're like, what do we want? Fingers. When do we want them? Now.
the thing though with this movie is it has this guy, Gian Maria Volonte. I'm assuming is how you say it. I don't know.
Yeah, looks about right to me.
And he's been in tons of films. I've seen 3 because he was in A Fistful of Dollars and A Few Dollars More.
Okay.
But he kind of made the film because he's the main character, and he's not a great character, but his performance just makes it so interesting to watch. So I really enjoyed it, and I need to seek out more of his stuff now.
Right. Okay. Well, see, this is why you are good at what you do, because yes, it looks like an extraordinarily boring film, and you've actually made it sound interesting. So there you go. Job well done. Yeah. All right. What else?
Well, that's pretty much it. So we can briefly mention the coffee table, because it's yet another movie sort of. That is best to go in completely blind. So we're not going to tell you anything about it.
Yeah. Other than, like you and Nobbins, hello Nobbins, had been talking about it and stuff, and I just thought,
it was interesting because Nobbins saw it first and didn't really like it much at all. Then I watched it and thought, I was worried when I started it because I'm like, oh, is it really going to be that bad? And then turns out I loved it.
Yeah, and so I was like, okay, I'm going into this with a completely open mind. And although, as we've mentioned before, you and I, 98% of the time we're on the same page. But I didn't know anything about the plot other than the letterboxed
no
synopsis, which just says about a couple going through a difficult time. They have just become parents. Oh, I can relate. To shape their new life, they decide to buy a new coffee table, a decision that will change their existence. And I'm like, okie dokie. So, I lay down in bed and just thought, I'll give this movie a watch. Wow.
I did say in my review that I don't think any movie has made me so uncomfortable watching, because there's just so much tension and anxiety that doesn't go away. It just is there the whole movie. There's some comedy, very like black comedy, but
if you're a psychopath,
but even with that,
of course I am.
Even with that, the anxiety's still there as well. So that's quite an experience to watch.
But look, I would. Oh my God, I can't recommend to people strongly enough. Do not read anything about this film. Just if you're after a deeply unsettling, disturbing film, this is one you need to check out. I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was an absolute masterpiece. That movie was in my head for days after watching it. Kylie went ahead and read what it was about because she was just too curious, and she's just like, oh my God, why are you guys watching this? But but that's really all we can say about it. Because,
I will say though, what's interesting is if it seems to be, if you get on that wavelength of feeling the anxiety through it, then that's what makes the movie. And if you don't feel any of that, you kind of miss most of it. And that seems to be what we discovered happened with Nobbins, that he didn't feel the anxiety, so he wasn't overly into it. And I've seen reviews where people have to, because there's not a lot going on if you don't have all those feelings there. And so some people I saw got bored because they obviously didn't. But most reviews are people just going on about the anxiety and how unbearable it was. And it's one of those movies that you have to see once.
I
I probably
I
there's no need
gasped
to
a
watch it
lot.
again, but
No, I would. I'm actually. I've
no,
got to
I
admit, I am
don't
actually
need
keen to
to.
watch it
I don't
again.
need to feel that again.
No, I'm actually keen. In a
I feel like
sick,
I don't know if
sadistic
I would
sort of way.
get as much out of it now
That's true.
knowing
That's
it.
true. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Anyway,
Well,
I
you'll
guess we'll
find
see
out
one day.
if you do watch it again.
Oh yeah, no, it'll be yeah. I can highly recommend it as a first date movie for anybody who is looking for something to sit down with their partner and like yeah, just cuddle up on the couch and check it out. Absolutely, that and a Serbian film. Anyway, all right. Well, yeah. I don't know about you. Like, should we get stuck into our main stuff then? All
Yeah.
right. Well, we are going to be starting this with a film that was chosen by the birthday girl herself because it is something that, yeah, is very very dear to her heart, and that is of course Encino Man. So, Encino Man is a comedy film that came out in 1992 and gave the world Brendan Fraser. It also, well, it didn't give the world Pauly Shore, but it's definitely made people know who he is. Look, this is a really simple film. It's about two high school kids played by Sean Astin and Pauly Shore who unearth a frozen caveman while they're building a pool. They thaw him out and he becomes the absolute coolest dude in school, which you just take one look at that hair and you know why. And along the way, they learn lessons about themselves and everybody lives happily ever after. Look, that is pretty much all there is to it, really. So, yeah, I'm going to throw it over to you for your Encino Man story. Like,
I
what's your origin
I
story?
love movies like this. So this is actually known as California Man to me because that's the name it got given in New Zealand. And when I saw it at the video store, and I've changed my letterbox poster for nostalgia, so it says California Man because I guess they're
Oh,
like
wow.
people in New Zealand aren't going to know what Encino is, and that's true. I had never heard of Encino before.
Mm,
So yeah, I pretty much just saw the video on the shelf and thought
mm-hmm.
that looks cool, and
Yeah.
then it sounded good, so I took it home and watched it, and I had it for a weekly rental, and I watched it every single day, and totally fell for Pauly Shore,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's just like the coolest movie. It's really fun. Doesn't need to have like obviously there's no science in this, and there's no like reality coming
Oh,
into
no.
this, but you don't need that because it's just fun. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
look, I was kind of similar. This is a movie that I remember when you and I first became friends back in late 2020. And we'd just been chatting online here and there and stuff. And I think you mentioned something at one point about how much you love Encino Man. I was like, all right, you are an absolute keeper. Like, we are going to be friends till the day we die. Because, yeah, it's one of those films that I mean, let's face it, a lot of people frown upon it and don't
People don't
respect
like
you.
fun.
No, exactly. So when you meet a fellow Encino Man fan, it's like we're family. That's it. I was pretty much the same. I thought the cover looked cool. It's got like this rad dude on a skateboard. I don't know. Let's check it out. And yeah, the moment that it finished, I was just like, okay, this is going to be a lifelong obsession. I don't know what it is exactly about it, but it was it was the first film I ever discovered because at that point I was a little bit naughty and I had two VCRs and so I was pirating tapes here and there if it was a movie that I wanted to
Same.
watch.
I've got old tapes that I still have. I
Yeah,
don't have a working player to play
right,
them,
right.
but I have some tapes that I had dubbed movies onto that have
Mm-hmm.
no physical release. So I
Mm-hmm.
keep the videos even though I can't watch them because I don't want
Right,
to throw them
right.
out until I can get a physical replacement. So
Hang on, just give me one moment. I'm
they're in limbo.
just sending an email to the federal police to let them know where you live. Okay, good, all good. But yeah, this was probably the first movie I ever encountered that had copy protection. So when I made a copy of it, I put the copy in, and every maybe 30 seconds or maybe a minute or so, like the screen would go distorted. The sound was fine, but the picture went all distorted for about 10 to 15 seconds. And I was like, this is really weird. And it's like happening, at a regular interval. And I didn't know what was going on. So I copied it again. Same thing. And I think I even went out and sourced another rental, because I thought there was something wrong with that tape. Tried to copy it again, no luck. And now, keeping in mind, this was at a time when to buy a VHS tape, they were astronomically priced. So like $50 to $100 it would cost to buy a movie, So, and then I sort of thought, okay, there's something going on here, but look, if that was the best version that I had, it was fine. So I was the same. I watched it day after day. I cannot tell you how many times I watched that damn film, to the point where I was so in love with Brendan Fraser's hairstyle in it, that amazing kind of dreadlock, twists kind of a thing. And I remember going to a hairdresser. Now, keep in mind, this is long before the internet and stuff. So I found a picture of him in a magazine. So I cut that out and I took it to the hairdresser and I said, you've got to make me look like this. Okay. Seriously, link me up. And they foolishly said, yeah, we can do this. Now, my hair was nowhere near the length that it would actually take to do that hair. And that's when they should have said to me, your hair's not long enough. But no, they're like, yeah, we can do it. So they, sat me down, and I remember I was working as a waiter at that point, and I had an afternoon shift later in the day. And so they did my hair. Anyway, when they were done, they kind of stepped back and they were like, well, maybe if you use wax or something and, twist it, or, maybe it'll kind of look like that. They gave me a perm. I'm not kidding. They gave me a freaking perm. So I had this
yeah, I guess when you look at the picture, that's probably what they're gonna think is it's got a bit of wave in, so we're gonna perm your hair.
Yeah, well, that's what they did. And so I turned up for my afternoon shift at work, and there was nothing I could do. I wore it, everyone's kind of laughing, going, what did you do to your hair? I was like, it's a long story. It's not exactly what I was after, but just please bear with me. Yeah, that was awful. But look, yeah, other than that, like you said, this movie is the pinnacle of fun. It is just one of those movies you can watch, I could watch it every single week till the day I die and still find it fun.
Yeah, watching it last night just really just showed again that, yeah, you can never get sick of it. It's so good. But I like that even though it's, just a silly fun movie, it still does really well at setting it up. Like when they find because they're digging the pool in, what's his name? Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Dave's backyard.
Yep.
He's digging to make a pool. Stony Pauly Shore is just hanging out because, he just wants to munch rather than do any work. And so...
Boy needs grindage.
They've been having earthquakes around, and then during one of the earthquakes, they uncover a bowl.
A Mysterian bowl.
I love that when Stoney puts his hands on it, and then he's like, it's chilling. It's not like, chilling. Bro, it's chilling. And, because he watches Jeopardy, he knows what it is. And so then they dig up the ice cube man and lay him on some sawhorses with a whole lot of heaters around, and then just go off to school. And then it just really sets up the whole school thing. Dave has a crush on Robin, and Robin's going out with, what's his name? Matt. Who is Michael DeLuise, who I know from Sequest DSV.
Right.
Which I think, because I don't know, I obviously saw Encino Man quite late, by the time it got to video in New Zealand and was a weekly rental. I think maybe, I don't know which came first, this or Sequest. But anyway, and he pops up in Gilmore Girls. later on as
Right.
well. And I'm
Okay,
like, it's
cool.
him. But yeah, he's like so perfect playing this bully guy, Matt. So
Oh,
Matt
isn't he?
hates him and is a bully. And so that it's all set up in this morning. And then they come home. And in the meantime, while they're at school, the ice melted and Brendan Fraser is, completely fine and healthy and
Of course. And
gets
good
up
looking.
and yeah, and trashes
Let's
the house and
yeah. I mean, I'm sure that, cavemen back in the prehistoric era like looked that good, Yeah, yeah. they definitely had great hair, that's for sure.
yeah, sure did.
Yeah.
So then they come home and he's trying to light a fire in the bedroom. So, um, but yeah, and then I love that they're like, we're going to teach him to be normal, and then Stoney's like, no, we're going psycho with him,
Yeah.
and they kind of do in the end. But
Oh my
yeah,
god. Oh my
what?
god. I completely forgot. Sorry, I'm just looking up the cast list, and there's actually a connection with Event Horizon in this film. Because Jack Noseworthy, who was Justin, Baby Bear in Event Horizon, he was one of the skater dudes in this film. Like, the two random skater dudes?
Ah,
One of them was
yeah,
Jack Noseworthy.
huh?
Because I was just also looking up, do you remember, like, oh God, what was it? Our first episode when we were talking about the Burbs and we were talking about that actor Rick
Yeah,
Ducommun,
yeah.
and I was like, where do I know him from? And then I suddenly saw him, in a classroom going, yeah, that's right, you have been studying or whatever. I was like, where's that from? Encino Man. Now Dan and Frankie Go to Hollywood has just come full circle. This will be our final episode ever. No, just kidding, just kidding. But yeah, I forgot about Jack Noseworthy. So yeah.
Do you know what? Oh, and the thing that I noticed this time that I never really noticed when Dave is like when they first have the heaters on to try and melt him, Dave's like, "Oh, you can't tell anyone. This is our secret." And Stoney's like, "Can I tell Steve Kuza?" And he's like, "No one." And then I never noticed that in like the scene where they
They're
enroll
walking through the
Link, and
hall.
then they walk around the corner, and he's just like, "Hi, Steve
Steve,
Kuza."
oh, you never noticed that
I
before.
never noticed.
You
Like, I
used
don't
to
know if I
watch
ever
it every
picked up
day.
what he said.
Ah,
It's just a
okay, right,
random
right.
comment. I just never like put those two
Yeah, yeah.
sentences
No, that's
together
fair
with the
enough.
same name.
Cool. Oh, that's
Because
good.
there's so many things to see in this. Some
Oh, there is.
things
Well,
to
I
look
think
through.
that's one of the great things about this film is that I mean, oh my god, there is not a dull moment in this entire film. It just, yeah, every single scene just goes along at such a great pace. Like the whole film, like the whole story plays out. Just
Yeah, it's like
it's
the
got so
meeting the
much
family.
energy.
Like Dave manages to talk his parents into telling them they forgot that he had this exchange student from Estonia coming to stay, and in the end
Yeah.
the dad's like, oh, that does sound familiar.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, that is that sort of thing though. That when you're trying to pretend that you did remember something, like you're like, oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's right. I do remember that now. Yeah. So no, that was hilarious. But yeah, no, the pacing and the energy in this film, like it's just amazing. And then that finale and the dance, like we were talking about last night with the band Infectious Grooves and that song Feed the Monkey. My freaking god, that song was everything to me when this film came out because it is such a great song, but it just because it was part of this film. And but one of the coolest things, when it was just after I got obsessed with this film, I actually went to work in a video game arcade, which I can't believe that makes me sound old now. Yes, kids, we used to have arcade games back in the day. And I remember the first day they brought me in to show me around everything, and there it was, Radmobile. They actually had Radmobile, and I internally lost my shit because, of course, I couldn't say to my new employers like, oh my god, this is the game from Encino Man, oh my god, yay, this is the best thing, I'm just going to be sitting in that for my entire shift. But yeah, they had Radmobile there, and it was funny actually because some of the people I work for, one of them, her dad owned a video store, and I remember they knew that I was so obsessed with it. They gave me they gifted me my own copy of it, but they actually changed it. They drew a letter D in the same font style and everything as it was on the cover, and stuck it, like slid it into the thing, and I had my own copy of Encino Man, which just meant the world to me because, of course, like I said before, I couldn't copy it for myself, so I did wind up with my own copy. But
speaking of copies, though, I have an American DVD, and it pains me every time I watch it because for some reason, and it seems to be just a thing in America, when they transferred from VHS to DVD, they cut a scene where they're teaching Link how to wrestle and do karate and stuff. And he picks up Stoney and spins him around and then chucks him on the ground. And then, like, the scene cuts off, but you just hear him go, "Ow, my pancreas." And they cut it. And so there's no "ow, my pancreas" anymore. And I had to go looking online because I'm like, I know this is a thing, like, what's going on. And some other people from, like, the UK and Norway and whatever said they've seen it, so I obviously have to hunt down a Australian or UK DVD. I wish this would come out on Blu-ray.
I know.
It has, like, Academy Award winners. Like, come on.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Look, I was going to talk about the cast in this film. Like, aside from Brendan Fraser, Sean Astin, Rose McGowan is a minor character in this. Ki Huy Kwan, and then there was that whole thing with the Oscars a couple of years ago when The Whale and Everything Everywhere All at Once were big, nominees. And so there were all these pictures of Brendan Fraser and Ki Huy Kwan together. And I love the amount of people who were saying, "Oh my God, it's an Encino Man reunion."
Yeah.
That was so freaking cool.
We've also got Robin Tunney in this too. Like,
Robin Tunney's in it.
Good time right around right before she went into, like, Empire Records and The Crown.
Yeah. Look, what happened to Megan Ward, who played Robin in this? Because I'm not kidding. At the time, I genuinely thought she was the hottest girl on the planet. Release date, newest first. Here we go. What was the last thing she was in? Party Mum from 2018. Okay. So clearly her career didn't exactly skyrocket. Oh, that's right. She was in Joe's Apartment. That's probably
Brady Bunch movie.
She was in PCU. That was a pretty cool film. But, like, she hasn't really
I just heard that. I never knew that movie existed until recently. It got mentioned on a podcast. Never heard of it.
She was in Freaked. That movie had
Alex
Winter and Keanu Reeves in it, amongst a lot of other people. That was actually a really cool film. But she hasn't really done much, which, I don't know. I mean, this is me being superficial, but, if you look that good, you should be in more movies, just saying. But anyway, this film, this is always going to be a film that brought you and I together as friends. There's no doubt about that.
And there's just so much cool random stuff, like when Matt breaks into Dave's house to, he's snooping, trying to figure out what's going on. He climbs through the window. There's a hammock by the window. He, like, falls, sort of gets caught up in the hammock and falls onto the floor, then stands up, gets caught in the hammock again, which flips him around and back onto the floor.
Classic slapstick
it's such a weird,
humor.
and it's that kind of movie where you're just going with the flow, like him and his, like, bully henchmen, like, just break into the school and look at the records and find out there's no proper records for Link, so they go to the house and find the photos, and it's just all this, nothing, it's like nothing matters, and you're just going with the flow. And there's that whole, they have driver's ed at school, and Link just drives the car off, and they end up at, like, a bar making friends with random people using the Spanish that they learnt in the class. No, that was so freaking good. Like, it's just there is a lot of randomness in the film, really, when you think about it. It's and then you've got Pauly Shore, which I understand that Pauly Shore and his whole persona is very, like, I understand why people hate him, because it's it's very distinctive personality.
Oh, I get it as well.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought he was great. I didn't even know at the time probably why he stood out so much because he's
Mm.
got, the long curly hair,
Mm-hmm.
bandanas, dressing like he's from the 70s, but with like a hippie kind of, you know,
Mm.
mixing in with that. And yeah, I went off. I haven't seen all his films because I
Mm.
it was the 90s. It was hard to track stuff
Mm.
down
Yeah.
sometimes. But I went straight on to Son-in-Law after
Mm-hmm.
this movie and loved that too.
Mm.
Biodome
Ew.
and In
I
the
can't
Army
get into
Now.
that film.
I think
I,
Jury Duty might be the only one from that time that I
right.
couldn't find.
Mm-hmm.
So I still haven't seen that one yet. But
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah,
did you
love Pauly
know
Shore.
that initially Paulie Shaw was cast as Link?
That
That
would not.
No,
That
well,
no,
they
that wouldn't
offered
work.
him that role, but when he went in for for meetings to talk about it and stuff, because Link barely spoke a single line or whatever, and Paulie Shaw was riding on his personality and the unique way that he talked and all of that sort of stuff, and so he kind of insisted that instead he wanted to play one of the high school kids. Sort of hard to say kids when they're probably in their 20s or
Yeah.
whatever. And yeah, so no, he was actually originally meant to play Link. So
Well,
yeah,
it all worked out how it should have because
I don't think it would have
I
been
can't
as good a
imagine him
film.
being Link.
I
I
don't
just
either. Like,
really
yeah.
I can't see him as like the cool kid in school that everyone thinks is
Mm,
amazing. That it
yeah.
just I'm sorry, but it just doesn't.
No, he's got to be a
That's
unique loser.
he's the weirdo friend,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
Yep, kind of
we
like what
like
you
the
are to
weirdo
me.
friends.
So yeah,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, no, I always thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, anyway, well, look, obviously we could probably go on about this movie for another hour, but we've probably got other things to talk about. So, what do you reckon? We done with Encino
I
Man?
think so. I
Oh,
hope
that's
that
so
everyone
sad.
who hasn't seen this movie goes out to see it, and I hope you enjoy
Mm,
it. I know that, like, obviously, any movie that we saw in the 90s has the nostalgia mixed in
mm.
with it. So I don't know how this would work if you came to it fresh
Mm.
now, and maybe depending how old you were as well, if you were around in the 90s, might make a difference than if
Well,
you.
maybe, but I just had a really cool thought.
Hmm.
I've just brought two human beings into this world to become Encino Man fans as soon as they can. Like, as soon as.
Well, there's not a lot of like adult themes in this, so they don't have to be that old to be able to.
Oh, heck.
You'll have them talking like Pauly Shore.
Oh! All right. That is my mission
Halloween,
now.
Halloween costumes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Link and Stony.
Tell
Like,
you what, I really wanted to be Stony for Halloween last year, but it's
mm,
trying to source stuff like what he wears. Like I
yeah.
searched, I tried.
Hmm.
It's really hard to find.
And I don't think you would have won Best Dressed if you'd come as that because your nun costume was just out of this freaking world. But yeah, no, I didn't even think of that. So yeah, not only will I have them loving the film, I will have them talking like that and dressing like that as well. Oh my God. Okay, unfortunately, Kylie's probably listening to this episode right now, so she's on to us. But I will do my best. I will do everything I can to.
Hey, you know what kids are like with wanting to rewatch films, so.
Oh yeah, people are going to be like,
Everyone's like, oh, I got to watch these crappy kids movies because my kid's
mm,
into it and just, like Frozen and whatever. And
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
get them into stuff like this and then you can
Yes.
enjoy watching it too.
Oh, look, parenting done right. We are going to be those sort of parents. Like, we're going to be bringing them up on things like The Exorcist and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and, all of those great things.
Hey, all the horror people I hear, like interviewed on Colors of the Dark and stuff, they all seem to have stories about being traumatized by watching a horror movie when they were too young. So
Oh God, that was me. I mean, when I was like 7 or 8 or whatever, I'll never forget my dad showing me the original Friday the 13th, and that bit at the end when young Jason jumps out of the water when what's her name's in the boat and everything. That scarred me for so long because every time it was bath time and I was in that bathtub, I would just look at the edge of the bathtub and I would expect him to jump out. Like yeah, my brain was fried. But looking back now, that was fun. That's
Yeah.
why now I'm one of these weirdos that actually enjoys having nightmares.
I don't
Because
like movies don't give me nightmares, but
yeah,
I like to be scared, but maybe that's because I don't know if it's because of like anxiety and life is scary, but movies don't scare me. And so
yeah, yeah.
it's really rare to find a movie that makes me feel like genuinely freaked out. And so it's always like such a special thing. Even if it's just one scene, I will love that movie, even if it's not that great, just because it had one scene that freaked me out.
Yeah, yeah. I'll draw the line though when my brain starts bringing animal cruelty into nightmares because I remember, God,
Yeah,
it was like last year or the year before, it was ages ago, but there was this weird dream that I had where I was watching a bullfight and they set the bull on fire. And I'm just like, I
Ah,
woke up from that and I still vividly remember it because it was so freaking traumatizing. Like I woke up and I'm like, brain, what are you doing? Like
yeah.
how why would you do that? Kill people in your dream or have me being chased or whatever you need, but you do not go there.
I've
I don't
had
know.
someone come bash me over the back of the head with a metal bar in a dream, but I
Uh,
kind of like it switched from me. I was just like walking home from the train station, and it switched from that to me watching like it was a movie. So I saw the
oh,
guy like
wow.
come up behind, so I didn't feel it, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. See, that's the kind of dreams I have. I don't have nightmares from movies. I just have
Yeah.
real
Oh,
life
yeah,
things.
no. Movies scare me, but they don't give me nightmares. But anyway, look, we've really seriously digressed from showing the kids Encino
Yeah.
Man to setting bulls on fire and getting smashed
Well,
in the back of the head. So,
yeah.
how about we move on? So, for anyone who may have missed it, we are now gonna get into our next installment of Hit or Shit. And this is gonna be interesting, where we pick an actor or director, and we go through their filmography. We each pick a movie that neither of us have seen before, and we determine whether or not that movie is hit or shit, which is a very easy concept. I mean, last time we had Jake Gyllenhaal, we picked Everest, Love and Other Drugs. We both determined, yep, Everest was a hit. Love and Other Drugs was shit. So what can possibly go wrong, right? So yeah. So your choice for we chose Brad Pitt as a subject, and your choice was Moneyball.
Yeah, this was on my list
Yeah.
already because it's about baseball. I'm a casual baseball fan because it's hard to be more than that in Australia. Because to watch baseball, you have to pay $25 a month for KO, and then you get ESPN, which shows a few games a week, and you have to hope your team will be one of those games.
Unbelievable.
So,
So do
but
you want to run through what this movie is about? Because for those of
yeah, so
who
this
don't know,
is based on a real person, real
mm,
events. Let me just bring up my thing. His name is
Billy Bean.
Billy Bean,
Miss,
played by Brad Pitt.
Mr. Bean, as I noticed, there was a moment in the film where someone called him Mr. Bean, and I chuckled. But anyway, I digress.
So back in early 2000s, I think it was.
Yep.
So basically, in baseball, they're always trading around people to teams, and so the teams with all the money steal all the good players, and then the teams that don't have the money kind of just lose people because they can't afford to keep them. And so Billy Bean's the coach of Oakland Athletics,
The
and they're
general manager,
losing. Yeah, what did I say? Coach.
coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do I know
No,
more
he's the
about this
manager.
movie than you? Anyway.
And so they've just lost some people and they're trying to replace them. And they've got all the like scouts or whoever they are sitting around a table talking about all these guys, doing all these stats and things. I don't know baseball stats. I just said I'm a casual fan. I picked up how to play by watching games and I still don't understand stats, but you don't need to, so it doesn't matter. So he goes to another team and they're going to do some kind of trade for a guy. And then at the last minute, someone in the room comments and they go, okay, no, you can't have that guy after all. And so he's intrigued, goes to find this other guy who is Jonah Hill playing
Peter Brand.
Peter Brand. Oh, see, you got all the names down. And so he's like, why? What did you say? What's going on? And then pretty much finds out that this guy majored in economics and he's doing all stats and things, and he basically does statistics to work out the best players based on those stats rather than the main stats that the people are using. So people that look bad by normal standards, but in what he's looking at shows they actually help get runs and get on base and all of that. So then Billy Bean hires him, and they sort of try just say to everyone, this is who we want on a team. And they get these guys that don't seem like they would be good guys, and then fight the coach, who's Philip Seymour Hoffman, to try and get them to play in games. I mean, it doesn't sound great, but it's mainly about Brad Pitt and his performance and him and Jonah Hill together and all of that, and their fight to get the guys on the field to see what happens. And eventually they do, and then it becomes this like record-breaking time for the team. And that was really exciting watching, because I don't know the real story, so I didn't know what happened. So it was exciting watching all the games and seeing them keep going and all of that. And I know lots of people have reviewed it saying they don't know baseball or don't like baseball, but they still had a good time with it, which I understand, because you could substitute the sport for another sport and it's still just, this guy trying to get stuff done to do well. I don't know. I thought it was pretty good.
Well, you clearly thought it was a good time because you gave it 4.5 stars.
Yeah.
All right. Let me tell you about my experience with Moneyball.
I will just say, though, I know I wouldn't rate it as highly on a rewatch because I know what happens. There was a lot of excitement and not knowing what was going to happen with how the games were going and everything.
Yeah.
But yes, I stand by my rating.
Hey, absolutely. Good on you. Look, I'm going to tell you about my experience with Moneyball. So let me just, precede this by saying I have an intense loathing of nearly every sport ever invented, ever created, or whatever. I am just not a sports fan. There are a few sports that I don't mind, and baseball's actually one of them. I don't mind baseball too much, mainly because people don't wind up beating the crap out of each other over nothing. Anyway, when you live in Australia, most sports involve just Neanderthals punching each other. Anyway, but, so I thought, look, okay, I don't mind a sports film if it's got a decent story. Look how you were with Rocky, you went into it thinking, oh my God, a boxing movie, and you ended up with a poster on your wall. So I don't mind, a film if it's got a good story. Oh my fucking God. This was a bunch of people sitting around talking about statistics. That's, to me, what I got from it. Look, the acting was good. And I went into this knowing that it had 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was nominated for 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Sound Mixing, okay?
Did it win?
And Best Film Editing. No, it didn't actually win anything. But, so look, I thought, okay, clearly, this is a sports movie that I'm going to enjoy.
It just reminded me of an interview I just watched.
Oh.
Where they talked about being up for awards and whatever. It was an interview with Brad and Jonah, and they were like, oh, well, obviously we'll have to be the favourite to win and then not win.
Oh, right. Yeah, cool.
So that's how it worked out.
Yeah. But look, oh my God. For me personally, and, to everyone who enjoyed this film, good on you. I wish I could have enjoyed it because I love Brad Pitt. He's just one of my most favorite actors. This movie's got Chris Pratt in it. I love Chris Pratt. But yeah, I was bored shitless. I would have actually turned this movie off after, I don't know, maybe an hour or so if it wasn't a homework movie and I had to talk about it. Because, yeah, it was excruciatingly boring for me. I seriously just thought there was just too much talk. There were too many scenes of business people getting together in rooms and talking about statistics. And I I did like the Oakland Athletics, the team in question, their sort of rise when they started winning and stuff, but it didn't inspire me enough to kind of sit up and go, oh, wow, here they go. I was just kind of like, cool, they're doing something finally. There was barely anything I found entertaining about this film. That being said, I do completely recognize that I am in the minority. I mean, this thing, like, I'm looking on Letterboxd right now, it's got, an average of 3.9. Nearly everybody has given it a 4. So I know that I'm in the minority. I'm being fair. Like, I know this is probably just a personal thing. It's just, for me, sport is bad enough, but business is also boring to me. And when you put those two together, it's not a good time for me.
I'm surprised that I didn't realize your hatred of sport was so strong. Like, I'm not a sports fan. I have a handful of things. It's pretty much just baseball, motor racing, the V8 supercars. I haven't really ventured into other kinds. Field hockey and the Olympics, and that's pretty much it. Right. But I love sports movies. I don't know why, but there's just something about them. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised that you like Gran Turismo, and now I understand why you just really did not want to go to that premiere at first, because it's a sports movie.
Let's take Gran Turismo. So
I know it's a completely different kind of movie.
No, but this is where I'm going with this, because Moneyball didn't have a story that inspired me. To me, it wasn't so much about because it was a sports movie. It was more because it was a business and statistics movie. It was a maths movie.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not commenting on the movie because obviously I haven't seen it, but you did just watch a movie all about Blackberries.
Yeah, but again, that was a really inspiring and interesting story. And
it just shows that it just depends on the movie and on your brain.
Yeah, because I actually thought about Blackberry as well, because I'm the same as you just said. I was like, I
still have to watch Air, and that's about shoes.
I just recently watched a movie about mobile phones, and I gave it 5 stars. But why? Okay, because that movie, the characters were extremely interesting. The situations were, there were things going on in that film, and tense moments and stuff. Whereas Air, on the other hand, I didn't like. I thought that movie was very bland and, bored me in a lot of ways as well. So, yeah, it is about the person. It's about the movie. Look, I realize that Moneyball, you're obviously going to say it's a hit, and that's just not because it's a baseball film. Look, yeah, see, that's my trouble, is that I'm a very rational person, and so rather than, being biased and just going, no, it's shit.
Come on, just it's opinions. Like, you don't have to cover yourself. We're just going with our own personal opinions.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no way you can talk yourself into saying a hit for any reason with the rating that you gave it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it was a shit for me, which sounds weird, but for me personally, but
that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
So don't be scared.
No, I'm not scared.
It's just saying, you just keep trying to talk yourself out of, like, you really want to say it's a hit, even though
you're misinterpreting what I'm saying. I'm saying that if we have to both come up with a definitive, is it a hit or is it a shit, then I'll side with you.
Can just do our own thing. We don't have to have a joint answer.
Okay. Well,
Because
I'm
if we both think opposites, who's right? Who wins?
Well,
We'll just
this is
have
why
our
I'm
own
leaning.
answers.
This is where I'm getting at with all this. I'm leaning towards what you're saying because 94% of critics, Academy Awards, letterbox people, everybody loves this film. So I know I'm in the minority there. So yeah, it's a personal shit. But if we had to give it the Dan and Frankie stamp of hit or shit, then I will concede that I am I am in the minority. I'm not wrong because it's my own opinion, but I'm definitely in the minority. So, yeah, there you go. Uh, now, on to another Brad Pitt film, and this is one that I picked because I've been very curious about this film, and
I never heard of it. It's
oh,
one of
okay,
those
right.
that just passed me by.
Well, Kylie loved it to the point where we rewatched it last night. Well, she rewatched it. I watched it, and she gave it 5 stars.
Wow.
And yeah, that is a movie from 2014 called Fury. Which look, I'm just going to read the letterboxed synopsis rather than me umming and ahhing. In the last months of World War II, as the Allies make their final push in the European theatre, a battle-hardened US Army sergeant named War Daddy, who is your War Daddy and what does he do, commands a Sherman tank called Fury and its 5-man crew on a deadly mission behind enemy lines. Outnumbered and outgunned, War Daddy and his men face overwhelming odds in their heroic attempts to strike at the heart of Nazi Germany. Wow. So yeah, basically it's Brad Pitt and a bunch of people in a tank. So, I kind of thought, okay, like, interesting. So yeah, and then you, of course, said to me, before I watch it, like, make sure I've got something happy to watch afterwards, and how
Well,
you had to stop
yeah.
it halfway through and catch your breath and everything. I said to Kylie,
And it didn't say catch my breath.
is this movie harrowing in any sort of way? And she's like, oh yeah, I could not hit play fast enough. And oh my god, some of the things I saw in this film, wow. Ironically, well, not ironically, interestingly, this film was written and directed by David Ayer, who did Suicide Squad 2 years after this film, and it was really interesting, kind of seeing like these two very vastly different films from this one guy. Like, I couldn't really sort of pick any stylish similarities or anything like that, but that was what I was going by. But what did you think of Fury?
Well, I actually, this movie has changed. So, um, this was the fun thing of, oh, everything's been so shit lately. I'm gonna watch this movie Dan picked, and then it's like the bleakest movie ever. That's why I stopped it halfway because I've been
Right.
watching. It was like over an hour because this is a really long movie, and I'm like, I just need to just not keep sitting here because
Mm.
I just really was not enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
And but it did start. The music at the start really
Mm-hmm.
grabbed my attention,
Yep.
and there was no opening credits, so I'm like, oh, I have to remember to look who the composer is at the end. And then, of
Mm-hmm.
course, by the time I got to the end, I wasn't even thinking about that. But I remembered today, and I
Mm-hmm.
looked it up, and it's Stephen Price, who has
Ah.
done lots of things, of course, but I just think of him as the guy who did Last Night in Soho music.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
very
right,
good.
right.
So I
Oh, he
listened to
also did
that
Suicide Squad.
while I was working today, and because
Mm-hmm.
it's got the choir and stuff, so it's
Mm.
like very nice music, and it's
Mm-hmm.
got a lot of similarities with some of the dark ambient stuff I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
So I like darkness in my music, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I did not like this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It got better at the end, like the
Mm-hmm.
last act.
Yep.
But then after, like, when I didn't have to watch it anymore, and I was just remembering, because obviously it's like amazing performances and everything, even though I
Mm.
didn't like anything that was happening. And, but then those bits, I kept thinking about them, and when I didn't have to watch it, like,
Mm.
it made it seem better. And I thought it's kind of like, at first I was feeling like The Social Network, which is the film for me that objectively I can see it's a good movie and
Mm.
like well made and all of that. But I hate that movie,
Mm-hmm.
and because I got so angry watching it. I hated everybody in it.
Mm.
Jesse Eisenberg's in it, one of my favorite actors, but too bad, terrible. So I rated it really low because I'm like, I don't care if it's well made. I hate it.
Mm.
And so this movie was kind of like that, except I I wasn't angry at it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got over it after I finished watching. And so the good thing, so I actually feel better about it
Mm.
than when I was watching it, or at least when I
Right,
was
right.
watching most of it. Is
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
the big end
Which we'll get into
sequence
in the sealed section
is
because.
because the movie's pretty much just, hey guys, you have to go here, and then they get there, and it's like, hey, you have to go there, and now we're going to go there, and
Yeah.
that's the plot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then there's just stuff happening along the way. There's
Mm.
no big story, which is kind of interesting because it's different from a
Mm.
lot of movies, that there's not a big story. It
Mm-hmm.
is nice to, not have the flashbacks and not a lot of life stories. There's just sort of talk between people, but not
Mm.
like, you get that there's a history, but
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like not having heart to hearts and flashbacks and things.
Look, I was very much the same. And actually, I'm going to read my Letterboxd review because I think it says it all. I was liking this movie well enough throughout the first two acts. Then the third act finale kicked in and ripped my balls off. It's- I was kind of the same. I was kind of like, okay, like, this movie looks really good. It sounds really good. Brad Pitt's hair, just, I love it. I just thought that looked incredible. It has a really good cast. We got Michael Pena, Shia LaBeouf is in it. In joke there. Sorry, Kylie. Yes, Shia LaBeouf, of course. I'm trying to talk about. John Bernthal as well was in it. Like, there's some really, and John Bernthal was freaking amazing in this film as kind of this redneck soldier that was actually kind of scary, I thought, because he looked very unpredictable and he caused a lot of tension in it. But one of the main people was by an actor, Logan Lerman, who I don't know if I've seen him in anything. Actually, I'm going to look him up right now.
Yeah, so I was
He
gonna
was in
say,
Bullet Train.
I know
Okay.
that I've heard the name a
Oh,
lot.
310 to Yuma. I love that film. What Women Want. I saw that not
Oh
long ago.
yeah,
Okay,
that's
he's
been
in lots of
also,
things, but
yeah,
yeah, okay,
yeah.
whoever the hell he is. Yeah, so like great cast and everything, but yeah, I'm just kind of like, there's no real story in this film. Like, they're just,
It's
traveling
just a
from
lot of
one
terrible
place to the
things.
other in a tank, and yeah, there's like horrible things. And Logan Lerman's character Norman, is this very naive, innocent person who they're trying to like turn him
Yeah,
into a
as you
killing
said,
machine.
he was a typist,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and then got sent to go join the guys in the tank. So
Yeah,
he
yeah,
had no
exactly.
idea what he was doing.
Yeah, but then, oh my god, when that third act kicked in, basically it's a standoff scene. It's your classic Butch and Sundance thing. Yeah, our characters are stuck in a tank and it's dead in the water. It's like, one of the treads has fallen off and they can't go anywhere and they're being set upon by hundreds of German soldiers. Like, oh my god, anytime that happens in a movie, I just love it. But yeah, we will talk more about that later. But also another, going back to Event Horizon, Jason Isaacs is in this film, and funnily
Yeah,
enough, I was
very small part.
oh, very small, but like I was looking at him on screen, and I'm like, who is that? And I kept thinking Sean Bean, but I was like, no, it's not Sean Bean. It kind of looks like him, but I don't know, he sort of looked a little different. I couldn't quite place him till I saw the end credits. I was like, oh god, of course it was. But yeah, look, because of that third act, yeah, that just sealed the deal for me, and I'm actually looking forward to going back and rewatching the film again, knowing where it ends up, because I think that's going to make the first two acts more interesting. I think it's going to, yeah, just that payoff makes the setup more interesting. But yeah, no, look, overall, I thought it was a kick-ass film. I gave it 4 stars. Like I said, yeah, Kylie gave it 5. She has a bit of a nostalgia thing for the film, though. Like, um, this,
It's just this is just it just seems weird to me to have a nostalgia reaction to a film like this.
well, yeah, because she and her family used to go out for family movie nights, and this was actually one of the ones that they all went to see as a family and stuff. And
Wow,
why do you think I'm marrying the girl? She's twisted. So yeah, like she just couldn't jump on and rate it 5 stars quick enough. One thing I've actually noticed with both the films we picked is they're very like male character heavy, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing or like, ooh, how dare these movies not have female leads.
yeah.
I mean, they're not the sort of films that should have, but it's only just occurred to, and it's taken me this long to realize it. But
I didn't even think about that.
no, it's only just occurred to
It's
me
not
when
really. I don't think about stuff like that.
yeah, I know. I
It's
just
one
thought it was
those
a point of
things.
interest. I'm reading through the
Yeah,
cast list. I'm like, dude. Yeah,
there's like what two female characters in this, pretty
in
much.
one scene, yeah, which was an
Yeah,
amazing scene. And
I like it
again,
when you just like have such a long scene, like that's just so separate from everything else in the movie.
but how good were the performances in that scene, especially Brad Pitt and John Bernthal, because like Pitt was, he was kind of, the peacekeeper, but at the same time, trying to eat his meal and do his own thing. Whereas, John's character, whose name was Grady, I honestly thought things were going to go a lot worse in that scene. I thought he was going to do something really, really terrible in that scene. But yeah, I like that it had built up that suspense, but kept it lingering. So yeah, no, there was a lot of really good scenes. Yeah, it was the kind of thing
Yeah,
that there were a lot of good scenes, but yeah, it didn't have a lot of story going through it. But
I
by
think
the end, it didn't
Brad
matter.
Pitt showcased himself right at the beginning, where
Mm,
because the movie starts in the tank
mm-hmm,
where they're like the last survivors of a thing, and
mm,
then they go back to camp, and then Pitt's like the tough guy,
mm-hmm,
and then he like walks off by himself and kind
mm.
of lets the emotion out, and he's doing that thing of acting with his eyes, like
Yeah.
because he kind of looks off to the side of the camera, so it's like
Mm,
full close up of his face, and you can just see it in his eyes.
mm-hmm,
I also thought Shia LaBeouf was really good,
mm.
and I just shocked myself by I'm like, why have I not noticed him before? Was this a standout performance or what? And then I
Mm.
looked, and apparently I haven't seen anything that he's been in.
Are you serious right now? He's
I'm
been in
looking. I mean,
so many movies. I know you haven't seen the Transformers films. So you haven't seen I, Robot or Constantine or
I don't think
uh,
so.
other films that he's been in. Wow,
I
that's
may have
really
seen
interesting.
Disturbia.
Mm.
I haven't. Oh wait, that's the one I have marked. Okay, yeah. Apparently, I've seen Disturbia. I
Ah,
don't
well, there you
remember
go.
it because
You
that was
big,
a long time ago, so
big
I
liar.
can't. I can't comment.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Actually, to be
yeah,
honest, going through his filmography now, I haven't seen a lot of his films, but
but I do want to see
uh,
Lawless because if you look at the movie poster, I'm
mm,
like, hey, there's that haircut again, and it's
right,
like
right,
Prohibition era, but in the like South rather than
mm-hmm,
like Capone kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
So that's going on my list. And he's also
Mm.
in Borg McEnroe. So I'm like, oh, tennis movie.
Well, I can definitely recommend I, Robot. I thought that was a fantastic film. I thought Constantine was really good as well. But yeah, but no, yeah, I agree. He was fantastic in Fury. Yeah, especially in there were some scenes that really let the actors showcase a lot of emotional range and stuff, and
Mm.
yeah. So yeah, look, overall,
Did
I
you
I loved it.
laugh
Mm.
that the guns were lasers? They were like green and red lasers.
They weren't lasers; they were tracer
they
bullets.
they looked like
I
lasers.
know,
And
I
so
know.
like
There's
distracting.
the third highest liked review on Letterboxd. Shout out to Alex Todd. Said, anyone else think some of the gunshots look like Star Wars lasers? No, they were tracer bullets. I don't know if you're aware of what tracer bullets are, but
No,
they
because
actually...
I have never seen a movie that has shown that. It just looks like
Oh,
lasers.
really? Oh, okay. No, tracer bullets basically what you saw. They have like
So they
a
get to pick
light
different
streak.
colors?
Yeah. Tracer
Do you
bullets
pick
can
your
have different
colors?
colors.
Or do
Well,
they
I
mean
don't know
something?
that much about tracer bullets. Yes, the
I'm
green
just
ones are
like,
for the good
I'm
guys.
like,
The
what's
red
going
ones are for
on?
bad
I'm like,
guys.
are they colored so you know who's firing?
Well, maybe they did that for the film, but
It was
yeah.
just, I've never seen a movie that has used that before, so it looks like lasers.
My goodness, it's your 26th birthday today and you've never seen tracer bullets before. Okay, well, there you go. She's older than 26.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, no. So those are tracer
I
bullets.
did see a Letterboxd review of someone who said they went to see this at the cinema and thought Brad Pitt was so great that they went and got the same haircut straight away, and it
Oh
looked
my
really
goodness.
terrible.
See, I'm not the only one then who
Yeah.
has. Mine was with Link, but yeah,
There's lots of reviews mentioning his hair, so it's
yeah.
not just me.
I actually probably
There's lots of
could
people who appreciate
pull
like
the hair
if
off
it's
at this
like
stage if I
interesting hair.
shaved the sides. I don't know. I mean, I can slick it back, but anyway, let's not worry about that now. Or maybe I'll just grow it long enough and try for the Link haircut again.
Well, I mean that's pretty easy because if you just make your hair long, it's just styling really to
Well,
get
yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly.
Or
But
you just
look,
get a perm again.
yeah, not going to happen. But look, overall, yeah, I really enjoyed Fury a lot. I would definitely watch it again. I would absolutely own it.
I seriously don't think I would have finished it if it hadn't been for this. Like when I stopped it
Wow.
after that hour, like maybe I would have tried again later when I wasn't like feeling shitty anyway and could be better into such a bleak movie. But I still like I liked some of the performances and things, but I really do not think I want to watch it again at the
Okay.
moment.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I will. I will listen to the soundtrack a lot because the music is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know that I want to watch it again.
Yeah, no, there were some extremely brutal moments in this thing. I recall a couple of scenes of people just getting their heads absolutely removed by heavy artillery shells. There was a scene where some people are walking through a street and a heavy gun opens up on the side and takes somebody's leg off. Like, that looked so disturbing. Yeah, there was a lot of really grotesque stuff in this film, but I mean, overall, you know, it did very much give that sort of thing about the horrors of war, especially with what happened with the character of Norman, how they turned him into, you know, went from like this innocent guy who refused to kill a German soldier to, you know, like this guy behind a machine gun going, "Let me at him," and just, you know, tearing people apart and stuff. And yeah, so it definitely had a strong theme of you know what war can do to a person. So yeah. So you're going shit, I'm going hit with this one? Are we doing a flip of Moneyball?
No, I think I will go hit because, like I said, it's grown on me. I never thought it was bad. Like, well, I didn't like watching it and I didn't want to watch it, but it's a bit different than like Social Network where I hated it. So
okay, so essentially
it made me angry. So it stood out.
Our two Brad Pitt movies are both hits, but we both didn't like the each one
Yeah, except
for
I'm going to
personal
rate
reasons.
Fury a lot higher than you rated Moneyball.
Yeah. Well, this has been a very interesting little experiment then, hasn't it? Yeah. All right.
And it's fun to throw this in and have movies that neither of us have any idea what we're going to get, rather than the ones we give each other, where at least one of us is definitely going to like it.
Yeah. Which, all right, well, if we're done with this until the spoiler section, of course, where we're going to talk a little bit more about Fury. Speaking of which, shall we tell people what we're going to be talking about next week then?
Yeah.
Or not next week, but next fortnight. I don't know.
Yeah.
These days,
Next
for me,
time.
weeks and fortnights are all just a blur, so I don't even care. I mean, if I could go back in time and change things, I don't know. Speaking of going back in time, yes, I've been given the task of picking a movie for our mutually loved film next week, and okay, so I've chosen Back to the Future because that is, I think, my number 5 film in my top 10 most favorite films of all time. Frankie, on the other hand, she can't quite remember what her thoughts were.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
And I am willing to bet I'm staking my reputation here that she is going to freaking love it.
Well, I mean, I watched all of them, so
This movie is the definitive good time film. Like, yeah, you can't possibly not have fun with it. So
well, I've been meaning to rewatch them for like 10 years or something.
Right.
And I just never got around to it.
Yeah, see, she was a kid 10 years ago. I told you she was young.
Oh
we've
God,
chosen.
that's a horrifying thought. I can't imagine being young, like super young now.
Yeah, I've been dealing with 2 people who are very super young, like a week old tomorrow. So yes, that is going to be our mutual film, and being that this is your birthday episode, I'm going to let you kick off with the 3 choices for me for a film for next time.
Yeah, I didn't really have time to prepare, so I just found
no.
some random one-liners.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good to me.
Did I?
I don't know, did you?
I thought I found a different one for this, but I guess I didn't. So, okay. Not enough haunted house movies are willing to just floor it from the jump. Fuck escalating tension, just spooky ghouls and zombie kids running up on your shit immediately.
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
Second movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really understand how this relates, but I like it. So, a Scooby-Doo apocalypse, greatest opening credits ever.
Ooh, okay.
Which I know you like good opening credits. I don't actually remember the opening credits. I've only seen it once, so I don't know how accurate that is. But and the final one, shout out to the old woman who walked out during the final scene yelling, "This movie is for sick people."
Oh my God. Okay, so we've got ghosts and stuff. We've got awesome opening credits and sick people. I want to watch all 3 of these films.
Well, you will eventually.
Yeah. Look, I'm any movie that's going to offend old people and make them get up and walk out and stuff, that appeals to me. So I'm going to go with option 3 here.
Okay, this is quite a divisive movie, so hopefully you like it, because I think it's great. Mm-hmm. You'll be watching The Neon Demon.
Oh, okay. Right. That's been on my radar for quite a while. Well, actually, pretty much since it came out. Cool. Okay, good. Thank you. Because, yes, I've been needing an excuse to watch this film. Not an excuse, motivation, if you will.
Yeah.
All right. So, the 3 films that I've got for you. This first one comes courtesy of Rotten Tomatoes. I've got to try and remember not to mention the name of the film here. It is no small feat to create an unbearable sense of tension and claustrophobia in an endless expanse of windswept desert. This film, however, does so brilliantly. So that's the first film. The second film I've got for you, this is from someone on Letterboxd. They said, "It was hard for me to even finish this. I can't begin to imagine how the people experiencing this felt in real time. Absolutely terrifying." I've got a feeling I know which film you're going to pick. And the third one, I can't describe how amazing it was to see a movie where the man goes to cry in the bathroom instead of the woman. Ariana Grande voice, it's equality. This was so sweet and made my heart fill with joy. I really loved it. One of the best rom-coms I've seen in a while.
Okay.
So there you go. We've got tension, and sweet rom-com.
Yeah, I'm going the rom-com
Yeah.
because I have had enough tension in my life recently.
as
I
I'm
just need lightness.
as I'm going through these, I'm thinking to myself, why did I even bother with the first two? Because honestly, the second one, actually, I'll in a minute I'll tell you what the second one was, because it's one of the most, if not the most harrowing film I've ever seen. um, but you are going to be watching a film called Man Up with Simon Pegg, and this is going to really float your boat. It has Lake Bell in it, who is the voice of Poison Ivy in the Harley Quinn TV series, which is actually the reason why I watched this film, because I was like, who is this Lake Bell? And I looked up this film and saw what it was about, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And I liked it so much I actually bought it on Blu-ray.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge is in it as well.
Yeah. It is such a great film, and just a really underrated film. Like, I would have never heard of it if I, hadn't heard of Lake Bell and gotten into the Harley Quinn TV series and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, there you go. That's going to be your homework film.
That sounds like a cute meetup that he mistakes her
Yeah.
for his 24-year-old blind date.
Yeah, exactly.
So she decides to go along with it.
Exactly. So yeah, we've got like a case of mistaken identity and everything. It's a good time. No, the second film that I had chosen for you is a film called Hotel Mumbai, which is the true story of a group of terrorists who stormed this hotel in India and just went on a shooting rampage. And it's the story of this little cluster of survivors who tried to, get out of this situation. And
Why do you want to make me watch something like that?
it's one of those films. Look, I am a weird
Well,
person.
see, you go on about me being the fucked up mind. You're recommending all these dark movies.
Yeah,
Bleak.
because I love watching these films because it makes me feel so happy about my own life, and any problems that I have just disappear, because I think these people went through something like that, and I will hopefully never have to go through anything like that in my whole life.
Yeah, but you are coming to that as a super positive person.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, that doesn't work if you're not a super positive person. You're just like, oh, everything's so shitty, and now I'm watching this depressing movie about terrible things happening to people.
Yeah. To be honest, the first film that I had picked for you wasn't actually. It's a very cool film, which you probably would have really enjoyed. Do you want me to tell you what it was?
No, you can give it to me later when I feel happy enough to
Okay.
deal with unbearable tension or whatever it was.
It does have tension, but it's not like a harrowing sort of a tension.
Is it
film.
like coffee table tension?
Yes. It is that kind of tension that's like, oh my god, this person's in a really bad situation, and
maybe
how
wait
they
a while before you recommend that one again.
Yeah, fair enough. But it was a film that basically had two actors in the entire thing. Like, it's one of those minimalist films where, they did so much with so little, and I was vastly impressed with it. But yeah, no, Hotel Mumbai, though, on the other hand, is just, oh my god, I've only ever watched it once. Like, I haven't been able to psych myself up to watch it again. Yeah, and I'm trying to get you to.
Yeah, you almost made yourself watch it again if I had picked that.
But I think that was the reason. I think I was kind of hoping you might pick it so I could actually have a reason why I needed to watch it again. So, because it is a really good film. I'm doing your thing now. It's like, oh yeah, a bunch of people get shot by terrorists. It's a good film. So anyway.
Well, I'm glad that you at least picked a rom-com, so you're not just always giving me bleak, tense movies.
No, absolutely not. No, I'll mix it up. I had like on my huge list of movies that I had for you to choose from, which was lucky because I've done no freaking preparation for this episode. I thought, okay, I'll choose Hotel Mumbai because I really want to watch it again but can't force myself to do it. This other one that is a really, really cool, brilliant film that is a bit tense. And then I saw Lighthearted and thought, yeah, I'll just mix it up a little bit.
I went with a horror theme, but Neon Demon is horror, but it's quite fun and light as well as dark. So it's, yeah, I love it.
That sounds good to me. And then, of course, we got Back to the Future to lighten things up if we do need help. But all right, so yes,
that's quite a mix we're going to have next.
It is a very strange mix of films. So yes, so next episode will be Back to the Future, The Neon Demon, and Man Up. And just goes to show that we have quite diverse tastes in films. So yeah, there you go. Oh, actually, just looking, you've given 5 stars to Neon Demon on Letterboxd. So yeah, no pressure or anything, but there you go. All right, so we're going to jump into the spoiler section in just a moment. But yes, well, for all of those people who don't want spoilers for, well, let's face it, for Fury, because Moneyball, baseball team goes on a winning streak. There you go. I spoiled it. Encino Man.
Well, you didn't really, because...
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will tell you why in the spoiler section, just in case.
Now I'm curious. Look, Encino Man, if you haven't seen it by now, yeah, you don't know what you're missing. Everyone lives happily ever after. There you go. Spoiled that for you. But no, Fury definitely got things to talk about. So, yes, for everyone who is leaving us now, thank you so much for listening. I was about to say watching, but that's not what you're doing. And yeah, once again, happy birthday, dear Frankie. Everybody, hip hip hooray. Hip hip hooray. Thank you. And yes, we will catch you in 2 weeks' time. Stay safe, watch lots of movies, and have lots of babies. Bye for now. And here we are. We've jumped in our little tank and we've ventured into spoiler territory. Rumble, 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 rumble. What the hell were you talking about as far as Moneyball goes? Because
yeah, you said that they go on a winning streak.
Yeah,
but then they lose at the end.
Oh yeah, but who cares? I didn't by then. I was like, oh, okay, they won, they lost, and then the voiceover comes on. And it's not all about something, I don't even know, I've forgotten it. Yeah, by that point Kylie was snoring next to me and I was like, God, I wish I could be you. Yeah. But anyway, Fury is the one, of course, though, that we need to talk spoileroos. So yeah, that ending scene,
I was really surprised. I got to a certain point in the movie and I'm like, oh, this is weird. No one's died yet, apart from the guy who was already dead in the opening scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Like, they've all managed to survive, and, they had another time where everyone died except for them, and then we got to the end, it was like, oh, okay, that's why everyone had to die except for them.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, look, I got to that end scene, and I was kind of like, how the hell are they going to get out of this? And I was like, oh, this is one of those movies where they're not.
Which I figured, because I'm like, this is such a bleak movie. But of course, final boy at the end. I'm like, oh, of course he survives.
But how interesting was that moment where Norman, is under the tank and, he's kind of dug himself in the ground a little bit and the German soldiers are looking around and one of them shines a light under the thing. And I'm oh my God, that was tension for me. I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, he's been found, he's gonna be captured and everything. And then the German soldiers looking at him and Norman just kind of like signals like, like, leave me alone, please, or whatever. And the soldier does. He just kind of looks at him.
Not everybody goes bad.
I know. And I thought that was an interesting take on the fact that, they had molded Norman into this, like soulless killing machine. And then I think, that guy was there to sort of show him like, that there is compassion still, like war isn't just all about kill, kill, kill. Like, I loved that moment. That actually was one of the things that just like ramped the stars up for me on my rating.
Actually, yeah, I'm like, oh, that's one non-bleak thing that happened in the movie.
Yeah, yeah, it was really cool.
I wondered for a point if they were all gonna die because I'm like, no movie kills off all their main characters, so I didn't really think it would happen. But then at the same time, I'm like, this movie's so bleak and everything is bad, so I wouldn't have been surprised if just like everyone died and like, oh, it's just war. Lots of people die.
War.
But I
What
guess
is it
some
good
things
for?
are still too
Absolutely
war.
nothing. Huh. Hey, there's a Frankie Goes to Hollywood reference in a podcast called Dan and Frankie Go to Hollywood. Unbelievable. It's like Frankieception. But I liked the way that everybody died. If that, I know that sounds bizarre, but no, they all kind of had unique deaths. You know, I love the fact that they were about to throw a grenade, but it got bounced back into the tank, and Michael Pena's character, whose name was Trini, just took it. Like, he sacrificed himself. You know, he picks the grenade up, just curls
Well, he'd
himself
been
onto
shot,
it.
hadn't he? So
He had, yeah. But, you know, holy shit, what a moment. You know, it was like, wow, did he just do that? I dug the tension building where the sniper is creeping up on them. And he looked really cool, you know, and sort of took Brad Pitt's character out, like, you know, bullet by bullet kind of thing, until like they threw grenades down into the tank to finish him off. But he still, you know, lived fast, died young, and made a good looking corpse. I thought he was going to be like, you know, just a pile of meat after being exploded by grenades, but he just had a few little shrapnel scars, but he was still pretty. But yeah, no, overall, the whole tension in that end thing. I also love how they just still took out so many German soldiers as well. So that was really cool. But yeah, going back to the scene where they go up into that building and, you know, they meet the two women who were Irma and Emma. Okay. Wow, that's some unique character names. Yeah, I really thought that scene was going to go pear-shaped when the others came in, especially John Bernthal's character, because he was such a loose cannon, like such a, you know, unpredictable kind of a thing. And I kind of thought he was going to shoot Emma, or maybe, you know, force himself on her, or I thought something was going to go awry, you know, but then, of
we
course,
just get a depressing horse story.
yeah. We get that instead, just to torment the kids some more. But you know, but then they leave, and I thought, okay, like that's interesting. It's kind of heartbreaking that, you know, like Norman and Emma hooked up, and obviously, you know, he has feelings for her, and she for him, and it was kind of a sweet moment. And then, of course, the
Kind of weird though.
yeah, I sort of. I get where he's coming from, though. Like,
Yeah, it's like, he
yeah,
can play the piano.
yeah,
And we
yeah.
can't talk, but he touched my hand, so that's sweet.
Yeah, but they made love, and you know, when you do that, you have a connection with a person, and like, yeah, no, I got it. I thought it was nice, and then of course the building gets fucking demolished, and poor dead Emma is there, and it's just like, you know, one more thing to shape Norman into a, you know, to destroy his soul. So yeah, no, that was a very interesting scene, but it, yeah, definitely went a different way than I thought it was going to. So yeah, that
I
was
had
interesting.
to laugh a bit at the bomb. That just the bombs come down, and I'm like, oh, the one building that gets destroyed is
And that
like
made you
in that
laugh.
area is
Wow.
like the one scene. Well, not laugh like it's funny, but laugh and oh, of course, the one building destroyed is the one where the two women were.
Well, the one that we saw. I mean, there
Well,
could have been some
in
stuff
that
off camera.
area, like
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like in
Right,
what you
right.
could see, it was just that one spot.
Yeah. I guess Norman was just unlucky. The
Yeah.
moral to that story is don't sleep with him, because
Well, they are lucky that they got out when they did.
that is very true. Oh God, I don't know why I didn't even think of that at the time, but yeah, that is very true. But yeah, no, that whole end scene, that was just extraordinary, and yeah, loved it so much. And that's all the spoilers I got for that film. What about you?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Well, There you go. It's going to be a short episode. Yeah, sorry, Nobbins, but yeah, that's probably like at least one or two less Barkins walks than you wanted out of it. But what can I do? You know, I didn't have much to say. So, yeah. All right. Well, what do you say we get out of here then?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks to everyone who stuck around through the sealed section and through every other section and just through our episodes and loved our voices or whatever. I don't know. I'm talking shit now. Yeah, stay safe. Watch lots of movies. Catch you next time.